What is up, Dan K Show fans? Another week back on the road for us. We're going to be going to Beantown on Friday night. Saturday morning, we'll be there all weekend long in Massachusetts. But for now, we've got a Dan K Show to do. It's time for the Dan K Show episode 10.
Did you check that before you said it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we did 8, 9 was on Facebook Live. 10.
Okay. Just making sure.
We're back. I double-checked my math. It is episode 10. Lucas and I just discussed it off on camera. We were still rolling, but you didn't see it at home because that's the beauty of editing. But what we can't edit are Dan K's 3 things. Thing number 1, let's get into this. Midwest West Showcase. Showcasing those in the Western Midwest West. They're getting showcased. These are exhibition games. They're not going to count in the standings, but they will count in the eyes of the scouts. What is it all about? These games will matter a bunch. It's about being seen by the next level and getting yourself in front of as many eyes as possible, and that's what this Midwest West Showcase is going to do. Keep an eye out for it all weekend. Each team playing 4 games from that division. Going to be a fun one. Thing number 2, NCDC first place battle is a split. The Bruins win game 1, the Hitmen win game 2. Funny thing during this NCDC game matchup, we predicted. Lucas predicted the Bruins to win. I predicted the Hitmen. Bruins win game 1 and the entire world seemed to just come crashing down on Dan. Twitter, Facebook. I'm getting messages right to my own personal pages saying, Dan, you got it wrong. We were all right. Bruins win. Hitmen won game 2. Nothing. Crickets from the rest of the world. That's what it's like to have your name on a show. You're putting yourself on a line every day. Thing number 3, there's a new elite rivalry blooming, and it's coming down in the south there from the Florida region. Tampa Bay Juniors, Florida Eels, a battle for first place last weekend went the way of the Juniors, and that's where we start this week because it doesn't happen often, but these two teams are playing each other 2 weekends in a row, and that's where I bring Lucas in here. Lucas, this is very rare territory for teams to play each other back-to-back weekends.
Yeah, it certainly creates an interesting dynamic when you can go right back against the same team that you were playing before. You got the benefit of that extra look, a recent look, and it gives you the opportunity to, we always talk about how important that intermission is to go, create a strategy to play that team. Think of this as like a week-long intermission. This
is absolutely going to be quality hockey. When you see each other twice in the same week there, weekend to weekend, you're going to know the tendencies, you know what you're looking for, you know the adjustments you have to make already, and you see with these great coaching staffs that the adjustments are made quickly. Let's look at this matchup now. The Tampa Bay Juniors coming to this, sitting in first place, 10-6-0, 20 points on the year. Right on their heels, though, at 8-4-2-1. A lot of different versions of conclusions to the ball games here for the Florida Eels. The Florida Eels are at 18 points, just 2 points behind. A weekend sweep for the Eels would put them in first place. We'll get to our predictions later for what we think is going to happen. But before that, we look at last weekend's matchup where Trent Gephardt was the story. Gephardt had a hat trick, including an overtime game winner. And this guy's not even a leading scorer for the Tampa Juniors. This guy's got 8 goals, 7 assists. That shows you the depth on TBJ. Talk to me, Lucas, a little bit about this roster and just how much depth they have at the elite level.
Well, it's the kind of thing where they can score from any line. You know, that's where we're at with this Tampa Bay Juniors team. You got Zachary Parker, who's leading that team with 26 points, 6 goals, 20 assists, averaging 1.63 points a game. I love that stat. I love the points per game stat because it really shows you how likely a person is to be involved at any given time, right? So when you talk about the X factors and how do you define that guy who's going to come through in the clutch? The points per game in a hockey sense, I feel like really gives you a good picture of whether a guy is going to be able to come through for you on a game-to-game basis.
I agree, and then you look at some of the supporting cast here with Zach, and Zach's year 99 here. This is a guy that's definitely next-level quality. I know there's going to be a lot of eyes on Zach, especially down at the Florida Showcase. You go past Zach here, and you look at some of the supporting cast. Jack Mazur with 10 goals, 9 assists, 19 points. A very, very balanced scoring attack from this team. You got Rocco Sullivanov here with 11 goals, 6 assists, 17 points. And then you look at Jackson Drysdale putting up the drywall there. You know, every foundation can be built by some of these other guys, but Jackson Drysdale's the guy who puts up the drywall, and that's what makes the inside of the house look pretty pristine and ready to go. Jackson's got 13 assists this year. And you know, I'm going to Jackson was a good Johnny Cash song, but it's even a better hockey player here in Jackson Drysdale.
And I'm actually looking at two guys here. So you mentioned Trent Gephardt already, but I'm looking right underneath him in terms of points at a left defenseman, Kevin Holman. So Gephardt and Holman, not only are they effective scorers, they both got 15 points. Gephardt 8 and 7, 8 goals, 7 assists, and Holman 6 goals, 9 assists. But they both have under half a minute in the penalty box per game as an average, right?
Yep.
So when you dive in a little bit farther, it's one thing to have a guy who's sitting in the penalty box all game. These are guys that are always on the ice. You can't goad them into taking penalties. You can't get them to play sloppy. They're going to be in your face. They're going to be taking shots. They're going to be sending passes around the ice. These are two you definitely need to watch out for.
And definitely going to be a tough team to beat in the Tampa Bay Juniors. I think the key to it is going to come in net here, because goaltending for the Juniors, it's been good, but they're still pushing to make it great. You know the Juniors coaching staff. You know who runs those organizations. The Strop brothers up there. Goaltending lineage is great, and you know they're going to have these guys that are playing at the next level come this weekend and as the year goes on. Nolan Kerr, 6-3-0 with a 3.35. Sean Hatton, 4-3-0 with a 3.64. Both in the saves percentage game, trying to boost those numbers, right? Bring them back up, and that's where the D-men like Kevin Holman are going to come into play. Going to have to block shots for these guys, and also sometimes it's about clearing the shooting lane. Sometimes it's, if you can't block the shot, get out of my way, is what a goaltender says. Don't shield me. I got enough going on in front of the net. I have enough to worry about with angles, puck movement, where I'm at. Get out of my way, and that's going to be a big one there. And you go to the Eels side, where I look at a big advantage here is Nahul Vayan there. Vayan with 5-1-1 in net, a 2.46 goals against, and a 9.24 saves percentage. 2 shutouts for this guy. Vayan is going to be very, very difficult to beat. And Scarpacci is going to be very comfortable knowing this guy's in net for his organization.
Yeah, well, he's put up some phenomenal numbers. He's done a great job as a goaltender so far this year. And like we said, a goaltender is just as much a product of his own success as is his defenseman and his forward lines, right? If you're going to block the shot, block the shot. If you're not going to block the shot, let me handle it. He's certainly he's been surrounded by some great defensemen, some great centers. You've got the guys on offense like Jake Court, Gage Dill, who are just putting up points all over the place. They've got 8 goals apiece. Yeah. Court's got 13 assists. Dill's got 10 assists for 21 and 18. But you look at the
Dill's got the puck, you're in a pickle.
You look at the defensemen though. You look at a lot of these different guys, and their defensemen they're active on the power play. They're active in 5-on-5, 4-on-4 situations, and again, they're not spending a ton of time in the penalty box. So you've got these top line guys who are active on the ice. You're not going to be able to get rid of them.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to gauge Dill here. Get it? I mean, another one. This guy's got a great name, #1 name in the biz. I've talked about it before this year. But 8, 10, and 18, you can't beat that. I want to go down to the defenseman Gage McNish here, another Gage. And this guy's got 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points. I can't wait to see the matchup between McNish when he gets on the ice and Kevin Holman for the Tampa Bay Juniors. This matchup is going to be one that, if I'm a scout, if I'm at the collegiate level right now, I want to see what guys like McNish, guys like Holman do against each other, right? Mm-hmm. There's not very often that there's a head-to-head matchup between 2 D-men, but there is a situation where does the plus-minus lean when these 2 guys get in the ice? Who wins that battle? It's going to be a very interesting battle to see. A lot of ice time from the 2, who skates a little more, and who makes the big plays when they need to be made. That's going to be fun to watch.
Absolutely. And McNish, another great point about him is he's got 3 power play assists and 1 power play goal. Everyone knows I love defensemen, and there's nothing I love more than a defenseman who gets involved on offense, especially on the power play. That I know that now there's this focus on the individual guy, right? The guy who can skate end-to-end, tape, and just kind of put it in the net himself. But maybe I'm too old school, but I love watching an offense get set up in the offensive zone in a power play and find that opening. All you need is 1 shot on a power play to be able to score 1 power play goal. And if you can set that up properly and you get defensemen like McNish who are sitting at the point, moving the puck around, it's going to be more successful than not.
Eminem said it best. All you need is one shot, one opportunity to make it happen. Give it all you got. You know what I mean? You got to lose yourself, but you can't lose a hockey game, and that's where our predictions come into play here. It's time to predict. Florida Eels, Tampa Bay Juniors. They're going to be playing a home and home here, one at one rink, one at the other. Little travel in between. Lucas, would you like to pick first, or would you like me to pick first?
I think I'm going to go first.
Oh, go
because
first.
I think I'm reasonably confident in this one.
Go ahead.
Dan, I love watching defensive-minded teams. I love watching good goaltending.
Okay.
And I love watching guys who can get the defensemen involved. So I love watching the Florida Eels. I've got the Florida Eels this weekend. I think they're going to take. I think they're going to take the wins here. I know it's a home, which is cool. I kind of like that.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too. I like it. I enjoy it. Eels, Tampa Bay Juniors. I do agree with you. You know, defense tends to win championships, tends to win titles. It's a regular season matchup. I could easily see this being a split just with the way these two teams have played. Tampa Bay leads the season series 2-1-0 right now. But when I look at the scoring depth with Tampa Bay, I think there's enough, and I think when they need to batten down the hatches, when they need to kind of throw the salt on the fuel on the fire. Is that what it is? If you have a fire that's from gas, is it salt that you put on it? What's the proper thing to throw on a fire that is a gas fire?
Federally regulated, chemically based fire extinguisher.
Well, that's too many words for me to put into this. So we'll act like salt is. Don't use that though. Disclaimer: don't use that at home. But I think Tampa Bay is going to have enough in the tank here to take this one from the Florida Eels. Later in the year, I will be very, very, and Lucas is looking it up right now, the power of the computer, safely put out a grease fire, what's the best way, and looks like
baking soda,
not salt. I was close. The power of the internet, we could do that during a game breakdown.
Just don't use water, folks. Here's your Dan K. Show safety break. If you have a grease fire, use baking soda, do not use water, because water will just push that oil around, and then you'll have water that's on fire too.
Exactly.
So use baking soda to extinguish a grease fire.
It's all about learning. And you know, this is a situation where I got the Tampa Bay Juniors. I think that they outscore Florida. I think they outscore them. If these games are defensive, Eels win every time. This Eels team is disciplined, and they're going to win those games. I think you saw the 6-5 win for Tampa. I think this is a 2-win weekend for the Tampa Bay Juniors. I think they push a little bit of distance there with the Florida Eels, and it's going to be interesting to see where this one goes from here. But we've given you some education. We've talked about two great franchises. Watch them at the premier level too. The Florida Eels trying to make their way and catch. They're on the tail there of the DME Swamp Rabbits, trying to get there, trying to run. But a Swamp Rabbit is faster than you think because it's used to running in the swamp. We're going to come back with more. We're going to heat things up and move on to the Decatur Blaze from the Midwest East.
You are watching The Dan K Show. Everything USPHL. From the NCDC to the Premier and Elite Leagues. The Dan K Show with Dan K and Lucas Jones.
Welcome back. We just had fun talking a little elite hockey. Time to move to the Premier and move out to the Midwest to a team we haven't gotten a chance to cover this year. The Decatur Blaze. Slow start for them. 0-4-0 to start the season. But a 3-win weekend puts them right back in contention. And you know, hockey's a funny sport because those games are always oddly shaped early on, right? It takes a while to get everybody to even strength on the amount of games played. This team's only played 7 games. They're 6 points out of first place in the Midwest East with 3 games in hand on the Cougars and 8 games in hand on the rest of the field there. So they are going to have a lot of room where they can grow and make up and go for this thing in the Midwest East. Can't wait to see what the Blaze do. But let's talk about them a little bit. You know, big 3-win weekend. We got to talk about the Blaze. One place I want to go is to a video that Lucas is going to throw up right now.
Play by Kowalczyk again. And this time up to Dugan. Dugan out in front of the net. And Dugan with the goal. 3 seconds left in the
Now, if you just watched that at home, and thank you to No Filter Dave there on Twitter for sending it to us, remember, if you tweet us videos of players or plays or anything you want us to see from these games, we will put them on the show. We will break them down with you at home. One thing I want to talk about here, this is a shorthanded score that was just put up there. A shorthanded score. What I want to talk about is the discipline on this play, the intelligence on this play. Here's what happens. The play starts off, puck breaks loose. Season opening, You have a forward who's skating himself down the ice thinking, I'm going to kill the most time if I can take this thing along the boards, push it deep into the corner, and keep it there. Before he dumps it, he realizes, I have some room here, I can keep skating. So I'm taking it with my body down to the corner. I'm going to go kill this penalty as much as I can, kill some time, and let my guys get a change. Then, in the process, realizes, I've now beat this D-man down the ice. I've got open lane here. I've got an opportunity. Keeps the puck wide with the stick, shields it with the body, so worst case scenario, a poke check pushes it to the corner where he wanted to go in the first place. Gets his body past the defense, sees the next D-man coming in, loops in again to keep the puck safe, goes forehand, shot, score. This is going from intelligence, it's going from team player, and becomes pure athlete, all in the same motion here. An absolutely incredible score from the Decatur Blaze. What a shot there. Lucas, why don't we talk about this team a little bit?
Yeah, let's dive in here because this is a tough division, and the Decatur Blaze are really moving up it pretty quickly, which indicates that they are kind of firing on all cylinders here. Let's start from the top, right? Let's talk TJ Dugan. Right now he's got 9 points, 5 goals, and 4 assists with 2 power play assists. Again, that all-important points per game statistic, 1.29 right now. He's a guy who's scoring. He's a guy who's making himself known. When you've got your top scorer kind of even with assists, and you look even farther down.
Well, that was TJ Dugan on that PK too. I didn't mention his name. Might as well mention it now.
Yeah, and you look farther down this list, and I'm looking at guys who are assist machines. This is a team that's not afraid to spread the puck around. What that tells me, Dan, is that they can score from any line. That all-important third-line score that we always seem to mention that is usually the difference maker here. It's a team that's not afraid to share the puck. They're not afraid to pass it around. Let's talk Blake Hackbarth. All right, centerman, number 41, 3 goals, 2 assists, 2 power play goals, and 2 power play assists. So if you're playing the Blaze and you go down a man, you are going to have some trouble. You got to watch out when number 41 hits the ice.
Absolutely do. And when you see this Blaze team, again, a lot of room to grow for this team and a lot of places to go. This is going to be an interesting Midwest East as we go on. It looked like it was going to be all Motor City at the start. Then Chicago starts going back to where they normally are, right at the top of this division. They start moving their way up. There's a place for Decatur, though. There is a place for this Decatur Blaze team to really fire it up and make a move. And I think bobblehead Dan, who Lucas was worried about continuity, but I wanted to sneak him in the shot anyway, because I got to sneak him in the shot because he's saying, Dan, you can use salt to put out a grease fire, but you can't use it to put out the Decatur Blaze. This Blaze team is firing on all cylinders. Fun to watch. We're ready to go. Lucas, I think we're ready to move on to a little bit of a talk about the Fall Beantown.
Want Dan K and Lucas Jones to come to your town? Follow Dan and Lucas on Twitter. Dan at Dan_Kamichik and Lucas Jones at LJones1138 hashtag The Dan K Show. Get more of The Dan K Show on their YouTube channel.
Welcome back, Dan K Show fans. We are getting ready because once again, we are going to be gone this weekend. We are going to be traveling to some new and strange place, except it's not new. It's not strange. It's very familiar. I got you on that last one. We are going to the NESC for the Fall Beantown. Dan, tell them what we're doing there.
We are going to have the busiest broadcast day in the history of broadcast days because we wanted to get as much action in as possible. Let's go through it. Let's go through our weekend. Saturday in Marlboro, then Sunday in Foxborough, Massachusetts. We're doing the Tour de Mass at a time where Massachusetts sports are really firing on all cylinders. Let's go. Game 1, 12:20 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. You can tune in again on Hockey TV with us for all of these matchups. On Hockey TV, we'll have Eastern Mass Senators U16 taking on the Powell Junior Islanders U16. This is a half-season team taking on a full-season team here. We're getting to see two worlds collide. EHF taking on USPHL U16. This is a matchup for the ages here, and it's going to be really a good little measuring stick for both of these squads for where they stand at during this Beantown showcase here, this Fall Beantown Classic. Now we go to game number 2. We get a drink of water. We take a deep breath, drink some coffee. 3 p.m. Eastern, BC Eagles U18, the number 1 team in the country at this level, taking on Top Gun Any Fall Prep U18, the number 17 team in the country. Next after that, we run over to Rink 1. We sprint from 4 to 1. We're running. 5:30 p.m. Eastern, NCDC matchup, Jersey Hitmen, Boston Bandits. My man Alex Thomas, who's scheduling this whole thing, goes, Dan, We need you on this one. We don't have a broadcaster. I said, Alex, next time tell me you want me on this one because you want me to broadcast. But her feelings not hurt too bad. We'll do that one. Game number 4, the last game of Saturday, will be our free game of the week on Hockey TV, an 8:20 p.m. Eastern puck drop. South Shore Kings taking on the Rochester Monarchs. First time doing a game from either of those NCDC squads. Should be absolutely pristine. Congrats to Matt Hayes, the newly named captain of the South Shore Kings. Let's move to Sunday. Final game, Sunday in Foxborough. We drive an hour away after sleeping in the hotel for about 30 minutes, and we get to New Hampshire Monarchs taking on South Shore Kings, the first place Monarchs in their division, taking on the South Shore Kings, who we had number 2 in the power rankings last week. An absolutely stellar weekend ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. We're getting to see a lot of teams that we, haven't really done games before, and 2 teams in the NCDC that we haven't ever done a game before for the free game of the week. So
yeah,
it's going to be great to see the South Shore Kings at 2 different levels in 2 days, the NCDC and the Premier. It's going to be great to be doing some selects games as well. We love those guys. We got to do our first game for them a couple of weeks ago, and it was a huge response, and they were saying, you guys got to do more. So here we are, we're doing more, and I'm really excited for Beantown.
Let's break down a little challenge that I have for you at home. I want to see how this works. I want to see how many eyes this brings to the screen here. I will be giving out an absolute package of Dan K swag to somebody who can watch our 3 p.m. Eastern broadcast on Hockey TV of BC Eagles versus Top Gun NE Fall Prep U18. And again, I remind you, this might be the best game in the country all month long on Hockey TV. This might be the best game in the country all month long on Hockey TV. BC Eagles U18 versus Top Gun. If you can count and let us know on social media how many Top Gun references Lucas and I make during the broadcast, you will get an absolute prize package from the Dan K Show with everything you can think of coming your way. The only thing that's staying here is Bobblehead Dan. He's not leaving.
Well, and we were talking, before we shot this episode, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to watch Top Gun again. Dan's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to watch it again too. So you guys are going to have to do your homework here because we might be going top shelf with some of these references.
Oh, we're going to be going everywhere. I'll tell you, you're going to be in the danger zone there. You're going to be on a highway to it. And we'll be on a highway driving up to New England Sports Center this weekend. Come find us. Come get an interview with us. Come talk to the Dan K Show. We don't bite. We're friendly, and we want you to follow the show. We want you to be a part of it. Speaking of being a part of the show, Power Rankings next week. It was an absolute outcrying of love, hate, passion, disgust,
more hate.
Distaste, more hate, mostly towards Dan K. But we're doing it again because we're doing it each and every month. This is going to be, we have the My Hockey rankings this year that are going on, but the Dan K Show, we watch these teams inside and out all season long at the Premier and Elite levels, and we put together our power rankings, the Dan K Show power rankings, and we put together the math, along with the opponents, along with the strength of schedule, along with the little thing called hockey intuition and human intuition. And that's what we're going to add into it. Power rankings coming up next week, and we're going to have an absolutely awesome challenge coming your way with a great prize for the winning team. So you're going to have to tune in next week. It is going to be one of a kind.
Yeah, that's one of the shows that we love doing. We did them last year, and we thought, how can we get this level of excitement back? Well, now we're doing these power rankings every month. When I was in Chicago, basically when I met people there, they would go, "Hey, it's great to meet you. We love watching the show. We're excited for power rankings."
That's it, and we're excited for it as well. It's gonna be one of a kind. And again, I remind you, you can write in and you can tell us who you think should be number 1. Where do you think the ranking should be? Write in with your top 10. Let us know who you think the top 10 teams are in the Premier and Elite, and we'll take it into account. But again, if you don't write in, it's like voting, right? If you don't vote, how do you complain? If you don't write in, can't complain about those power rankings till you start reaching out and letting us know who do you think should be at the top of it. Let us know. Dan K Power Rankings Halloween edition in costume coming up next Thursday. But for now, we have one last thing to do on this week's show, the Empty Net. Welcome to the Empty Net. Welcome to our favorite segment each and every week. It's the Dan K Show. It's time to talk to you, the fan, the parent, the player, the whoever reaches out to us. And this week we had a wonderful GIF sent to us that kind of looked like Lucas in his bow tie from our Kentucky trip.
Yeah, the bow tie was kind of foisted upon me there. I gave it a shot. You know, we did a college game, so I said, you know what? We're branching out a little bit. Maybe I should branch out a little bit. Huge mistake on my part. Doing the game, great idea. Wearing a bow tie, miserable.
And we had a great time. We went out and did a Kentucky hockey game. This is an organization that's trying to do a lot of growing. We talked to Coach Clay Pergram out there. A lot of growing in the future for that Kentucky hockey team. That's all I can say. But it was a great game. Over 1,000 in attendance on homecoming night. It was fun to do the broadcast. We got a lot of love from the Kentucky folks. And one thing we got from Brian Osmondson, a Hampton Roads Whaler supporter, was a wonderful GIF of Lucas that looked exactly like Lucas in a bow tie and had your smile. It had your smile, which was an upside-down frown. But we move on. We got a video in for the Pittsburgh Vengeance. Lucas Kirk, absolutely incredible, sprawling goal, laying out score. Let's take a look.
Head knocked down by the Vengeance. Carried by Kirk. Kirk trying to find his way around. Kirk whipped his shot after fighting off the check of McCauley. Now in front. Oh, an opportunity. And finally put away. My goodness. Will Rosengard came out with a puck dumped in front. Augustine made a great save, but could not make the third save. The Pittsburgh Vengeance have tied it up at the 11-18 mark of the third period.
You're right there. That was a great video, and you can always tweet these videos to us. You just go on Hockey TV, you clip them, you send them to us, you tag at the Dan K Show, and we'll put them on the show, folks. It's as easy as that. And one last thing we're going to talk about, Dan. You know, we've been doing a lot of broadcasting in the month of October.
Broadcasting in the month of October. We saw Hockey TV's doing a broadcast of the month tonight, and we had the Dan K Show tweet out, why isn't it us? October, broadcaster of the month. We broadcast. It's a month. We travel the entire country doing this thing. Hockey TV, we're calling you out right now. The Dan K Show with the broadcasters of the month. Let's just get this thing done. Let's print it, get it to the presses, and then let's just keep doing it every single month. Hockey TV every month for the rest of the year, for the rest of the time. Dan K Show, broadcasters of the month. If you want to help us out, reach out to Hockey TV, tweet to them, Instagram them, Facebook them that you think the Dan K Show should be the hashtag broadcasters of the month. Let them know. Let's fill the inbox with it, and let's see if we can get this done. And then let us know who your broadcasters are so we can continue to push this each and every month and try to get the entire USPHL's broadcast crew recognized this year. Can't wait to see what you got for us. I can't wait to see what's in store for us this weekend at the Beantown. And next week's power ranking should be incredible, especially the costumes you'll see us in. Lucas, parting words before we go. Ooh, bobblehead Dan says no, and so does Lucas, but I say yes. I say yes to the game of hockey, yes to the USPHL, and especially yes to some EHF action this weekend. It's going to be fun. Stay tuned. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. Thanks for watching another week of the Dan K Show.
You know, after 4 years of not saying anything, I'm starting to run out of ways to not say anything.
There's not really any other way at this point.
I don't think I've ever doubled.
You should get props. Like, you should start in, because that was good. Like, you need to start
I'm
introducing
gonna have to
props,
start
like carrot
bringing
top.
props and then not tell you what they are.
The carrot top of saying no.
Yeah, because I in 4 years I don't think I've ever duplicated a way to say nothing.
Like, hitting me with a fish once would be pretty interesting.
I'd have to get a fish, but like that's not that hard.
Like a catfish. Like somebody snuck one into a game when Nashville played Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup Finals. You can get one in here without me knowing.
The catfish are pretty big though.
They're pretty big. They are pretty big. It would hurt.
Yeah.
But it'd be worth it for the show and for you.
Maybe a live lobster.
Ooh.
Just leave it somewhere in the apartment.
Introduce that to the equation.